So, Michael, obviously, we've seen a significant rise in beef prices over the past few months. Is the current beef prices sustainable in your opinion?
I think so. But I think it was an inevitable consequence of a lot of the green measures of recent years. You've seen herd reductions in Ireland, in the UK, across Europe. The inevitable byproduct of some of these kind of idiotic decisions was you're going to drive up, there's a scarcity value, you're going to drive up the cost of beef. I do think the market will respond as long as there's no more green interference in it. The market will respond, supplies will rise. I mean, I would argue beef has been underpriced for the last 15 or 20 years. It's been in many respects too cheap.
And I suppose we've seen in the news, Michael, restaurant owners complaining that the price of beef is too high. And some restaurant owners are even going as far as saying they're considering taking steaks off the menu. What's your message to them?
I've never yet met a restaurant owner who wasn't complaining. They're complaining about the VAT rate, they're always complaining about something. Look, beef is an expensive product, it's a premium product. I don't see steaks disappearing off the menu in any restaurant, but there's no doubt that the cost of steak, is becoming more and more expensive. I mean, I was actually at a work dinner there yesterday evening, and there was a €10 supplement for a fillet steak or for a rib steak. Fine, that's what you're going to have to do. Those of us who like eating beef are willing to pay that kind of premium. But I think it's absolutely vital that the farmer gets a fair deal. And I look forward to these rising prices. I think farmers have been struggling with prices, particularly into supermarkets for many years. And if dairy farmers have had a good run, and it's time time for beef farmers to get a reasonable return on the incredibly hard work that they do.
And obviously, Michael, you're in the business of producing pedigree Angus cattle for breeding, and you're having an upcoming sale. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, we're having the annual Gigginstown House Angus sale on Fenner Farm outside Mullingar on Saturday the 19th, Easter Saturday the 19th of April. I think it's our 26th or 27th year of the Angus sale. We're selling about 25 pedigree bulls, and we have about 20 premium heifers. We have a very good mix of genetics, good ICBF indexes, lots of 4 and 5 star bulls. They're ideal for pedigree breeders, but also for dairy breeders. And, our biggest outlet in recent years has been dairy farmers who want an easy calving but beef calf. I think one of the the more noticeable trends in the last 12 months has been the strength of calf prices. So the dairy man is also getting a reasonable return for the dairy calves as well, and I think that's good for everybody.
So obviously, these farmers are looking for better genetic sires to use on their dairy cows to produce.
Yeah, I mean, the advantage of using pedigree Angus on your dairy cow is, one, you get an easy calver. Two, it's a 50% kind of pedigree Angus, so it qualifies for the certified Angus beef program. So you get a premium on the beef calves as well. And there's a very strong trade for those beef calves. Lots of people now, we're in April, heading into April, grass is starting to grow again. People demand for calves is strong. People are looking for animals to graze their land during the summer. And I think that's a good sign for the dairy farmer who invest in good genetics to keep the cows lactating.
So we obviously have breeding bulls, we have maiden and in-calf heifers in the sale, I believe.
I mean, we're selling 20 pedigree females. There's about 16 of those will either be in calf. I think 1 or 2 will probably have a calf at foot on the day of the sale. Now they'll only been calved down by a couple of days. So it'll be the usual mix of very good, very strong pedigree bulls. We have a bigger mix this year of autumn calvers coming through. So, we'll have a very large bulls ready to go and breed, but also some smaller bulls coming through as well. And a super mix of pedigree heifers. The heifers will really appeal to pedigree breeders. The Gigginstown prefix is now strong. Our stock are winning shows, stock bred by our bulls and our females are winning shows around the country. And, we continue to invest heavily in the name in Gigginstown. Joe O'Mahony and the team do a terrific job at producing high quality animals. And we're looking forward to what I hope will be a successful sale with something for everybody.
And why, I suppose, Michael, did you pick Angus, and you've really pushed on with developing the Gigginstown Angus prefix, but why was the breed Angus that you picked?
I mean, like everybody else, when I started this pedigree journey 30 years ago, everybody was breeding Charolais and Blonde Aquitaines. They all had to be big plough pullers from France. But they were difficult to calve. And, I'm a part-time farmer. I didn't want to be calling the vet every time the cow was calving. So I was looking for an easy calving cow. In those days, you had the choice of, the more kind of the natural breeds, Aberdeen Angus or Herefords, I prefer black over redheads, and therefore it was natural, I think a natural consequence that we went into Aberdeen Angus. But we've been very lucky as well. Like in the last 30 years, there's been a enormous advertising muscle put behind Angus. Burger King have done a phenomenal job with the Aberdeen Angus designation, the Certified Angus Beef Programme, that premium beef programme here in Ireland. There's a lot of very good marketing and support for Angus. And I think people increasingly regard Angus as a brand in its own right, and are willing to pay a premium for, Angus beef, whether it's you're having steaks or other meat products. People are willing to pay that premium for high quality Angus beef.
And obviously, there's a lot of talk, Michael, about sustainability in all aspects of life at the moment. But would you say your farm is more sustainable than it was 10 years ago?
I mean, I think I'm not sure it's more sustainable, but it's circular more. It's certainly much more circular. Like what we're trying to do, the farm has expanded now to about 2,000 acres. So we have about 800 acres of tillage. We're growing our own straw. We're growing our own feedstuffs. We're feeding our cattle. We're using the FYM to spread on the fields. So I am trying to move away from having to buy in fertilizer, having to buy in meal and feed, and to at least make it circular.
And I suppose what's next for yourself, Michael, and your farming operation?
I think, we've expanded significantly the tillage operation in the last 3 or 4 years. We're still at the foothills of what's happening with tillage, but an awful lot of it was driven by, we're by the need to, we wanted to supply straw for our own cattle. I didn't want to buy in straw, so we wanted to grow our own straw. The advantage of that then is, but I'm harvesting whole crop, maize, meal. We're now wintering out more of the cattle on rapeseed. So we state that the cattle are out now until probably the end of December before they go into sheds. So we're learning all the time to try to make the whole thing more kind of circular sustainable rather than environmentally sustainable. I think there's going to be a pushback against a lot of the environmental nonsense. I have no faith in this idea that we should all reduce the size of the national herd. Anything that damages the supply of food will result in higher prices for consumers. I think that's a retrograde step. We've looked at some of the bigger Scottish farms and how they go about making more, keeping the farm circular, supplying all your own needs on farm or within the farm. I'm fortunate that I've been able to go out and buy additional land. Other people can't afford to do that, but I'm in that fortunate position. And I'm trying to make it kind of not just sustainable and self-supporting, but also run it at break even. I don't ever expect to make a lot of money farming, but I don't want to lose any money either.